Has video games journalism ever been good? I remember the old days of IGN saying 7 out of 10, too much water. For, what was it? Legend of Zelda Wind Waker. Ends up being a 10 out of 10 game. One of my favorite games of all time. Nobody has ever listened to games journalists except for morons from Inside Games Daily. Nobody cares about games journalism. And I will just add that I don't think anybody's ever cared, really. I know I haven't. I just follow the people that I like, and if they like a game, then I probably am gonna like the game.
Welcome to Inside Games Daily, the only gaming news show brave enough to tell you that you really don't care about this video you literally just clicked on.
Yeah, games journalism. It's a pile of contradictions sometimes like that. Let's be honest, you know, if you look around, the last few years have not been kind to traditional gaming outlets, and that's not because everyone loves gaming journalism.
Everybody keeps telling me, you gotta buy Assassin's Creed Shadows, it's 10 out of 10, great game, return to form. Same thing with Dragon Age the Veilguard, same thing with Avowed, with all these games that I'm not gonna play, that I knew that I wasn't gonna like, that I knew were gonna be 6 out of 10, 7 out of 10 games, but for some reason, they keep trying to push them on everybody, and I see ads upon ad upon ad, and culture wars all surrounding everything. If you don't like a game, or if you say you don't like a game, then you get tons of hate online. And I've been sick of it before it even started, because I knew it was going to be this way.
But there's a ray of hope offered by an NFT game developer of all things. Gunzilla Games, co-founded by film director Neil Blomkamp, and currently developing the NFT shooter Off the Grid, which, by the way, isn't that bad, even though it's crypto and NFT. I played it. They have acquired Game Informer and revived it with 100% of its original staff.
Contradictions, you see what I mean? Game Informer's back. Yay! It's from an NFT game. Aww. Despite the cynical nature of the headline of this episode, and even some of the snark you've already heard, we want to make it very clear that this is a good thing. And
Is it really a good thing? We haven't seen anything from them yet. Because they might end up trying to compete with IGN and PC Gamer and all of these other outlets that are all the same. They all say the same thing about every game that comes out. If it's a game that we all like, the regular gamers, then it's gonna be 6 out of 10, 7 out of 10 from them. But the ones that we know we're not gonna like, that are all surrounded by the culture war nonsense, 9 out of 10, 10 out of 10. So hopefully Game Informer is gonna be the opposite of those guys, but I don't see that happening.
we are happy for everyone at Game Informer. We're happy for everyone out there that remembers Game Informer fondly. But there's the big one. 15 years of experience in games media between Bruce and I combined is like 30 years now. It leaves us with some conflicted feelings and some worries about the future of this whole scene, which we'll get into.
Yeah, we'll go through the timeline, and then we'll obviously talk about our experience anecdotally, and also there's a little evidence as well. So first, Game Informer announced their return on March 25th with a YouTube video and a post on GameInformer.com, and everybody rejoiced.
Yeah,
I have a prediction that I'm gonna make right now. They're gonna be using AI. They're gonna be using AI, and they're gonna be promoting NFT games and crypto games. I already know it. This isn't gonna go well. It's gonna be trash. Hopefully I'm wrong. Hopefully I am super wrong. I love being wrong whenever it comes to things like this. But I don't think I am.
yes, very good stuff, especially since everyone kept their jobs, and that's a miracle. Despite being owned by a game developer, I guess unlike a games retailer in the past, you know, that implies a possible conflict of interest there. Game Informer editor-in-chief Matt Miller promises the Game Informer retains all editorial control.
All of Game Informer's editorial content is 100% selected by our editorial team without any outside influence, including from the new owner.
So new content is already posting on the Game Informer website, with the physical magazine promised to return in the coming months. They're going to sell a magazine once.
Yeah, a physical magazine. Those are getting more and more rare as time goes by.
Why are they even bothering with a physical magazine? I could see it as like a collector's item, but if you're trying to sell it like they used to sell it, you know, when you would get a subscription to Game Informer magazine whenever you sign up for the Gamestop rewards. Remember that? If they don't do things like that and they only sell it as a collector's edition, and they make it upon the purchase, they put the magazine together upon purchase, I could see that going well. But if they're trying to push magazines on people, like actual physical magazines, they're wasting their time, their effort, and their money. Because nobody's gonna buy a physical magazine. I say nobody, I mean the masses aren't gonna buy a physical magazine. Obviously, some people will. And I think they'll buy it. Mostly for collectors, you know? They're gonna collect them. Like they did Nintendo Power and Game Informer before. You know, maybe I should actually buy some Game Informer magazines, some old ones, and then also sign up for the new ones. I don't know, let's see. How much are they gonna be? I have no idea. And what's the quality gonna be like? They're 100% gonna be using AI generated images though.
So yay, you know, it's there's not really a downside to any of this. The truth is, and Bruce and I have commiserated about this, both on and off camera a number of times, games media is just not a good business.
And they say we're not going to be influenced by outside sources, except they totally are. They're going to be influenced by what every other outlet says. If IGN says something is an 8 out of 10, Game Informer is going to be right there around it. And they're going to be advertising games. They're going to have games such as Assassin's Creed Shadows. It's a little late for Assassin's Creed Shadows to be pushed by Game Informer. But they're going to be doing the same thing that every other company is doing. Return to form. This game looks incredible. Look at all these new things that they're doing that are actually old things. But they keep saying they're new for some reason because people either don't play video games or they forgot that these mechanics that they're using already existed.
You know, when that comes to the cost of production, the money you get back, it is really tough to make a go of it, and it's exceptionally tough to scale a business off of it.
Yeah, there's very little money. The product itself is expensive to make properly, and hilariously, Lawrence and I have scaled back on that, and it still is not the easiest thing to make every day. Our editor, Shuklin, is doing all of the work, and Lawrence is doing a lot of the writing and pre-production, so it's like one of those things where even this tiny little show that we make every day, kind of tough to do properly.
Yeah, tough to break even, tough to turn a profit on, that's for sure. It's, as somebody who's done a lot of that research, a lot of that writing that goes into a properly researched, you know, news breaking piece, let me tell you, it is so much easier to just yell into a webcam about whatever hot button topic of the week is bubbling right now than to actually go out, research a story, talk to multiple people, convert those interviews into a piece that flows normally, and vet all your sources, get it approved by an editor. Like, doing all that responsibly, there's value in it artistically, there's value in it culturally, but the audience doesn't really reward it accordingly with a number of views for how hard it is to do.
Plus, if they mess up just 1-2 times and lose audience trust, then it's done. It's over. Because nobody trusts. It's not that nobody cares about games journalism. It's that nobody trusts games journalism. You know who people trust? They trust the people who study the games journalists and actually give you real news and facts. And everybody wants to watch their favorite person. Nobody really cares about whatever every games journalist says. They care about what their favorite person says about the games journalist.
Yeah, a lot of that is because of the YouTube algorithm, Twitch algorithm, things like that, in addition to the audience. But, you know, they sort of go hand in hand, and then rage bait becomes the most popular thing. So that means the only way to increase margin is to post more with less time. That's why you see a ton of videos. That's why we went daily. We were hoping it would help. And then weirdly, some of the audience, and maybe, I don't know about the majority, but some of the audience does not discern the difference between an opinion piece, somebody yelling into a webcam, and then also a well-researched written piece that actually has evidence and things like that.
Yeah, and to be clear, because I know it can sound like this, we're not shaming the audience, we're not shaming you. You know, people choose what they want to watch, and there's nothing wrong with that. We're just kind of trying to lay out the business realities of what we see on a daily basis. And to link that back to Game Informer leads to some trepidation about the future, because from an outsider's perspective, you know, we have no visibility on the actual business operations of Game Informer, nor do I want this to sound like a criticism of how they operate their business. But you keep dropping the pregnant butts. It's unlikely that Game Informer as a business is doing better now than it was when it closed. I mean, I'm sure all the narrative about it coming back will bring up a lot of support, and that's great.
Yeah, when it initially comes out, people are going to be super excited, and you're going to see Game Informer everywhere. And all it takes is one thing for everybody to be like, nope, this ain't it, bro. Glazing a game that everybody hates, or something where everybody's divided and they choose the side of glazing the game that half the country or half the world really hates. For example, a game like Assassin's Creed Shadows, if they join the conversation on the side of IGN and PC Gamer and Kotaku and all these crazy, insane places that lie all the time and give terrible reviews and drop points for no DEI, then it's gonna fail. I actually give it like 6 months before they start treading water.
And hopefully that they were allowed to operate on that for a while. But what happens if Off the Grid flops? And like, there's a lot of shooters that have flopped. Was it Spectre Divide?
No, the Spectre Divide, yeah.
There's a lot of like, I mean, Concord, there's a lot of like service-based shooters that have tried to get off the ground. It's an exceedingly crowded market. So when Game Informer's parent company suddenly loses the desire to operate a business that's not bringing in loads of cash, what happens then?
Yeah, the only thing I can think, having run the business of Funhouse for a while, within another business, by the way, it wasn't necessarily a fully proper business, is that they lower the costs for Game Informers. So they're going to keep everybody hired, but then they're going to be like, okay, figure out how to make more content with the same amount of people. And then that's how you do it. And then we'll see if it hits, right? We'll see if Game Informer can get the views and get the support and the people in. But that's generally what you do, is if you want to keep costs down and then make more content, that will bring up I mean, I don't even know if they're profitable, but it'll bring up the profit margin if there is any.
I can see IGN right now already. They're going to be like, Game Informer is a bigger success than we thought it was going to be. And then 6 months later, Game Informer is just going to shut down again because it took on too much and can't handle the 24/7 news cycle that they're gonna try and get into. It's not, and the magazine stuff, not gonna work. It is not gonna work. They'll probably end up shutting down the magazine portion, at least, fairly quickly.
As somebody who worked in a GameStop and sold a handful of Game Informer subscriptions in my day, they used to have a pretty virtuous cycle there where people would come into the store, you get them a magazine, and the magazine would show up and kind of get them excited to come back into the store. Nowadays, the cycle's a bit different. So I do hope Game Informer can find a good model out there, because a lot of people are trying. And we'd like to say that there is a bright future for Game Informer and maybe more traditional games media reporting. But the last 4 years have shown us that the trend is not going in that direction.
Yeah, lots of larger companies have really lost the patience for it because, if anything, the margin on this is like, 5% or whatever. They're making no money on this, and that's why you are constantly seeing these layoffs.
Yeah, I think a lot of people, especially, I mean, I remember at Machinima explicitly, they wanted to build an IGN competitor so that they could rake in all the sponsorship dollars and throw sponsored parties and stuff. And they lost the patience for it. A lot of people do, because it takes more than a couple years and a lot of just takes a lot of work to get yourself into that field and get any money out of it. Yeah,
we're seeing the business model of games journalism change sort of into the niche audience supports them via Patreon. So for the sake of community service, we've actually compiled just a really short list of what people are doing now. Here are some fellow games media folks that have spun off to do their own thing independently, which is super cool.
Yeah, you've got MinMax, which formed in 2019 after layoffs at Game Informer. You got Aftermath, which launched in 2023 after layoffs at Kotaku. And then a couple of other knuckleheads that have been doing it for a minute. Chris Dring just launched a newsletter called The Game Business that's really focused on the actual business operations of the industry. That's something we dally in here a lot, so I'm a big fan. And then Stephen Totillo has been reporting at The Game File for.
I haven't heard of any of these. I don't know what they do. I don't know where they are. I don't know what their content is like. But the fact that I haven't heard of them probably means that they're not doing so hot. Because I don't hear anybody talking about them. And I follow a lot of gaming news. That's like my main source of news, is just gaming news. I probably consume 3 hours a day, at least, of gaming news. Every single day. And that's just me as a consumer, not making content really about gaming news. I do every once in a while.
For a while now. And there's a handful of pretty big stories that he's broken over there. So definitely recommend checking out all those outlets to find the flavor of games media that you prefer. And yes, Bruce, you're absolutely correct. You have to appeal directly to the audience, find your niche, and hopefully everyone is as blessed as we are here that we can have some supporters that directly fund the show. Yeah,
not to mention, by the way, the people, like good friends of ours started doing this a very long time ago, like Kind of Funny did this directly, and they were one of the first. Easy Allies, same deal, right? Like these are people that, in my opinion, were way ahead, and they're still doing it. They are still going to their audience, and like their audience supports them directly and things like that. So it seems to work. I just don't know if there's the much larger scale that you would hope, I guess, with an IGN or something.
Yeah, I guess. But I don't know. I think it's okay that it's not like that. It seems like big scale. If you're going for scale, then you have to kind of slip into the kind of sycophantic popularism.
True, so true. What I've noticed with these big scale news outlets for video games, what they've been doing is a lot of access journalism. It seems like all of the big games that cost hundreds of millions of dollars are getting high scores from them, but the audience hates these games like Concord, Star Wars Outlaws, Assassin's Creed Shadows, Dragon Age the Veilguard, Avowed, and you can't forget what the things that they said about Black Myth Wukong. What's that new one? Berserker. The first Berserker or something like that gave it a low score, but the audience is like, no, this game is amazing. You people are insane. It seems like the corporate slop is what gets pushed to the top.
Of a lot of other games media where you tell people what they want to hear as loud as you possibly can. So you kind of turn it more into theater. And you can kind of scale off that, but then again, like, what's the point? If the most successful product is one person, 5 minutes of prep, a bunch of tabs open on the browser, and they just click through them all, read them, and then say that, like, this is all bullshit. That's about as efficient as you can get for a product. So scaling up beyond there is just kind of it's for love of the game, I guess. I mean, speaking of Kind of Funny, they have a very glitzy studio, but that I think is just for just to make it nice. It doesn't necessarily make the media perform better. I don't know, Bruce and I, we've talked about this a lot, about I'll have desires to punch up production, and Bruce has to constantly be like, that's just for you. Like, just acknowledge that.
I mean, again, and by the way, Lawrence, like, just personally, I would love if we could be like, oh, you know what? We spent an extra $2,000 an episode on something. Look at that. The views went up. The money went up. It all went up. Perfect. That's never the case. And it just, anecdotally to you guys, the audience, Lawrence and I talk about this almost monthly. It's very, very sad to think, like, we had to title this video, "Nobody Cares About Games Journalism," and then obviously when you come into the video, we talk about how there are people that do care about it. It's just a smaller audience, but we had to title the video that way to get you in, and that's just us doing just a little tweak. It's not even really a clickbait thing. It's just more of like a way to figure out to get people to watch our video, and that we're not the rage bait content that you see surfacing its way to the very top of YouTube, and people screaming about any topic and being angry about literally everything every single day.
I don't do that. I do 50-50. I like to scream about things that I don't like, and I like to talk about things that I do like. For example, I talked about Witchbrook, and I am super, super excited for that game. I haven't really been hearing anybody talk about that game, but it's made by the same people who made a bunch, like Stardew Valley. Well, not really. Concerned Ape did Stardew Valley, but Chucklefish helped along with that, and they did Eastward. They did Starbound, not Spacebound, Starbound, which I really liked. I wish that it would have been more fleshed out, but it's got a lot of mods that you can really make it a finished game better than they could have even made, I think. And then you got all those games that I talked about before that I've made videos on that were not good. I mean, some of them were alright, like Assassin's Creed Shadows was alright, but not for how much they spent on it. I'm not gonna get on that tangent anymore. None of my stuff gets pushed to the top. Why not? YouTube, come on, man. It's because they like the rage bait, and I don't do that. I just am real, and I want to talk about things that I like and I don't like. And what I don't like is corporate slop. What I do like is passion and creativity, and just making games for the love of the game, not trying to make the most amount of money possible for investors.
Because it makes them money. And Lawrence and I don't want to turn into that. That's something, by the way, I could do that. I could do that every day. I could come on and yell at you about something, but that's, in my opinion, disingenuous and not necessarily our opinion every single day. So I don't know. It's just something that we talk about a lot, and we don't want to give to you guys, the audience, but I don't even really know if there's a space for it anymore.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, yeah, I'm glad you brought that up. That's kind of the reason why, it's kind of the reason for our catchphrase, not catchphrase, talking about how brave we are. It's not very brave to talk about video games on the internet, but it is kind of like we kind of shoot ourselves in the foot intentionally by choosing to do it this way, when you can see another business or another style of content that flat out performs better.
I think it's extremely brave talking about video game content if you're giving your actual opinions and not going with what the, in quotes, audience is saying. A lot of times they're paid for. Literally, Ubisoft was paying people to go into online places, online spaces, and talk up their games and talk down to people who don't like it. They literally said that they were going to do that, and they called it like guerrilla tactics. Insanity.
So yeah, we are kind of brave by walking away from all that success and money.
It's we appreciate you guys watching, because I'm sure, like, if you've noticed, we've gone daily over the course of March, and some of those episodes do really great, and some of those episodes do not do really great, and it's I could give you a very, very quick little peek into the comparison of making videos in February when we only had a few videos. I don't think Lawrence is. I haven't even told Lawrence this because I've been keeping track.
Yeah, I haven't really looked.
In February, we made 6 videos. And then in March, we made 20. What's interesting about this is we made triple the content, a little more than triple, from February to March. But our revenue just about doubled. So very interesting that we had to make triple the content to make double the revenue. But now, if you do any math at all, there is no profit margin there. There is no profit at all.
That's negative. It went down.
Yeah, that's negative. That's bad. So it's just, but that's the YouTube. That is and that's only counting YouTube. I'm only talking about YouTube there. So that is what happens if we solely focused on YouTube with the content that we make now. And that does not sustain itself for very long. So thankfully, we've got the Patreon. The Patreon is you guys supporting us, and that offsets all this YouTube bullshit that we got to deal with.
Yeah, the Patreon, which we're incredibly grateful for, and then any sponsorships we happen to get, which has completely dried up this year. So it's interesting out there.
Yeah.
I have never gotten a single sponsorship deal, and I'm waiting on it, man. I've been waiting for so long. I've got my email open for business inquiries, and I'm waiting. If you got something you want to pay to get advertised, something small, I don't even care. Like, you can pay me $20 for me to advertise something. If the money's there, I don't care.
Yeah. Yeah.
But hey, enough about our woes and concerns. I just thought we would share those in context of Game Informer coming back, because honestly, it's more. I want it to come. My heart is in solidarity right now. I wish the best for anyone that enters this highly competitive field, and I really do hope that everyone can find a niche and find a way to contribute meaningfully to games culture, which we all love so much.
Yeah. No, by the way, this is not me complaining. It's just more of like the realities of the situation. And it was an interesting experiment because I haven't never got to see it so fully on display.
It doesn't matter what you say. It doesn't matter how you feel. It doesn't matter your opinion. There's always gonna be a bunch of morons out there who are like, nope, you're wrong about everything. Here's some corrected information for you. And it's usually not correct information. Like today, somebody told me, hey, did you know that Chucklefish isn't the developer, they're just the publisher of Witchbrook? And I had to inform them, no, you are incorrect. I am correct. Witchbrook is developed by Chucklefish. They are a developer, not just a publisher. There's always those kinds of people out there. And I'd say it's probably about 1/3 that are just looking to correct you, say you're wrong, and hate on you, even when you're right. It doesn't matter.
Like what we did when we went daily, and you know, we may continue to do daily, we may not. It's up to Shooklin. Shooklin is doing, like I said, the lion's share of the work. So it's something we love to do, and we would love to continue to do. But who knows, really? I never know. It seems like it changes month to month, and that's super scary.
Yeah, from a business perspective, yeah. But hey, enough of us pinching pennies here. We know times are tough for you, and that's why Inside Games is on your side. We're out there pounding the pavement, clicking through the subreddits, and finding the free games so you can save a couple of bucks. We got some free Epic games this week, as we do every week. This week it's Cat Quest and Neko Ghost Jump.
Okay. There's also the free Amazon Prime games, Session, the skate sim, The Forgotten City, Let's Build a Zoo, Deus Ex Invisible War, and Game Deck Definitive Edition. What?
I don't know what any of those are except for Deus Ex Invisible War. And I have that game, and I have yet to play it, actually. Is that game even any good? I like Deus Ex. That last one that they made really, really, really needs a sequel.
What the hell is Game Deck, Lawrence? I don't even know.
It's a cyberpunk turn-based strategy game. So kind of like Shadowrun, if you played those.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, cool stuff. Cool stuff. Definitely my kind of game. And this is a shout out for tomorrow. The April slate of PlayStation Plus games will be available then. But that's notable because RoboCop Rogue City is the lead game, and that one's phenomenal. Check it out if you haven't played it yet. You can also get the Texas Chainsaw Massacre and Digimon Story Cyber Sleuth Hacker's Memory. Star-studded. Save yourself some money. Play some free games.
I'll probably not play any of those, actually. I've not played the RoboCop game. I've heard that it's really good, but yeah, doesn't really interest me. I'm more of a retro style gamer, and I like indie games mostly. I have a retro gaming channel, kinda. It's linked down there in the description if you want to check that out. Right now I'm playing Stardew Valley, Resident Evil 4 from 2005, Professional difficulty, and the original Ratchet and Clank. And I've got some more games coming up whenever I beat those, which will be soon, especially Ratchet and Clank. I think I'm gonna beat that one rather quickly. Tell me what you think about Game Informer and all the gaming journalism and whatnot down there in the comments. We'll have a conversation about it, man. You can tell me I'm wrong. I'll take that criticism. Just don't be stupid. Don't make stupid comments that are just insulting me for no reason. I'm out.